This was only a few months ago from the time I'm writing this. I work an overnight job at a warehouse, so I'm usually asleep during the day and awake from around 6 p.m. to 9 or 10 a.m., even on my days off. I like keeping my body on the same schedule. One night, I got off work at 4 a.m. and drove straight home, arriving around 4:15. The roads were completely empty and silent. But when I got near my house, I noticed something strange. There was a car parked right next to my driveway. I slowed down as I passed it, trying to get a better look. It was an old black sedan, heavily tinted windows, completely dark inside. No lights, no movement. I pulled into my garage, but before going inside, I took one more look down the driveway. Something about it felt off. In my neighborhood, houses are spaced out. There's always plenty of room to park. So why park right next to my house? I tried to brush it off. Maybe someone was visiting a neighbor. An hour later, I checked again. The car was gone. The next day went like normal. I slept, woke up, and headed for work again. But when I got home that night, the same car was back. Same spot, same darkness. This time, I didn't just drive past it. After parking, I walked down my driveway to get a closer look. As I approached, I thought I saw something move inside. Just for a second. Out of the corner of my eye. I froze. Was it a reflection? Or was someone actually in there? I stopped about 10 feet away, close enough to see, but not close enough to feel safe. I couldn't make out anything. Before going back inside, I took a picture of the license plate, just in case. Later that morning, the car was gone again. Still weird, but it hadn't done anything, so I let it go. That evening, I had the night off. I went out for my usual walk around the neighborhood. When I left the house, the car wasn't there, but when I came back an hour later, it was. Right there. Same exact spot. At this point, it didn't feel like a coincidence anymore. I walked straight up to it. This time, I pressed my hand against the window to block the reflection and looked inside. The car was empty. No one inside. Nothing unusual. Just an empty car. I went back into my house, still uneasy. The first thing I did was grab my phone. That's when I saw it. A motion detection alert from my security cameras. Now, I had a camera on my front porch, but it only faced the door, and I had 3 cameras inside the house. The notification didn't say which one triggered, so I opened the app. There was a 60-second clip saved. I started watching. For almost the entire video, nothing happened. No movement, no sound. I was about to dismiss it. Then, in the last few seconds, something moved. Fast. At the very bottom of the frame. Just a glimpse. Part of a head. A shoulder. Gone in an instant. My hands went numb, because I recognized the room immediately. It was my bedroom. The same room I was standing in. The silence in the house suddenly felt unbearable. I could hear my own heartbeat. I slowly turned around, scanning every corner. They could be anywhere, watching me, right now. Panic hit me at once. I rushed toward the door. The moment I stepped into the hallway, I heard movement behind me, from inside the bedroom. Footsteps, fast, closing in. I ran. Down the stairs, toward the front door. The footsteps were right behind me, maybe 15 feet away. I didn't look back. I couldn't. I threw the door open and sprinted into the woods outside my house. Branches snapping under my feet, heart pounding, breath shaking. Eventually, the footsteps behind me stopped. It was just me, alone, in the darkness. I called the police. When they arrived, the car was gone, but I had the picture of the license plate. 3 hours later, they found him.
A man in his early 20s, completely unhinged. There was no clear reason why he targeted me, but it was obvious he had been watching me for weeks. They found photos on his phone, pictures of my house, taken at night, even photos through my windows of me sitting inside. He had notes too, my schedule, when I left, when I came home, every day for 2 weeks. The most disturbing part? We still don't know how he got inside my house, or how he avoided the cameras. And if he got in once, there's no way to know how many times he'd been there before. Maybe this was just the first time he made a mistake and let himself be seen.
I was working as an Uber driver, and nights like this were always slow. Sometimes I wouldn't even get a single pickup. Still, I stayed out, either driving around listening to music or sitting in an empty parking lot watching videos on my phone. Even a few rides made it worth it. That night felt exactly like one of those nights. The storm was heavy, rain hitting the windshield non-stop, wind howling through the empty streets. Nobody was out. For the first hour, I stayed parked, just listening to the storm pass through the town. Eventually, I got hungry, so I drove out, grabbed some food, then came back and waited again. That's when I finally got a request. I checked the app. The pickup was 25 minutes away, and the drop-off was another 20 minutes from there. Usually that means no other drivers are out, and I was the closest one. I had nothing better to do, so I accepted it. The drive felt strange, longer than usual. The roads were completely empty. At times, it didn't even feel like I was going to pick someone up. It felt like I was just driving into nowhere. The route kept taking me further out, far beyond anywhere I'd normally go. Nothing around, no houses, no lights, just darkness and trees. After about 35 minutes, I reached the location. It was at the corner of 2 roads, but not normal roads. These were roads in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Empty fields, trees on both sides, and no one in sight. I marked myself as arrived and sat there scanning the area, wondering why anyone would be out here in the middle of a storm. After a minute, I looked down at my phone and started typing a message. "Hey, I'm here. Where are you?" That's when I saw something in my side mirror. Someone walking up behind my car, out of nowhere. Before I could react, the door opened and he got in. I had no idea where he came from. I hadn't seen anyone on the road or near the trees. Nothing. The man was completely soaked, rain dripping from his clothes. His face, tense, disturbed, almost angry. "You ordered the Uber?" I asked. He didn't answer normally. Instead, he said my first name. That confirmed it. He was the right passenger, but something felt wrong. I started driving. A few minutes passed in silence, but the feeling didn't go away. If anything, it got worse. He wasn't sitting behind me like most passengers. He was sitting in the middle of the back seat, staring straight ahead, right into the mirror, right at me. Every time I looked up, he was there, watching. I wanted to ask what he was doing out there, why he was in the middle of nowhere in the pouring rain, but I didn't want to start anything. As we drove further, the road only got more isolated, more empty, more wrong. Finally, I spoke. "Hey, what brings you out here anyway, especially with the storm?" I kept my tone calm, friendly. I looked at him through the mirror. His eyes met mine for a split second, then darted away. He looked like he was about to say something, but he didn't. He just stayed silent, avoiding the question. That made everything worse.
Now he seemed restless, looking around, checking the mirrors, watching me. The rain made it hard to see anything behind me, which made it even more unsettling. I had no idea what he was doing back there. Then, suddenly, he spoke. "Drop me off here." I frowned, confused. We were still in the middle of nowhere. "You sure?" I started to ask, but he cut me off. "Drop me off here." This time, demanding it. Something was definitely wrong, and I didn't want to find out what. So I pulled over. He leaned toward the door to get out, but then he paused. His eyes shifted to my phone, sitting on the center console, the Uber app still open. He hesitated, just for a second, then glanced back at it again. Slowly, he reached into his pocket and pulled out his own phone, checked something, and in that moment, I understood. He had just realized something. The app had his information, his name, his trip, everything. Whatever he was thinking about doing, whatever he had planned, he now knew he could be traced, and I was already suspicious. He stayed still for a second longer, the tension in the car unbearable. Then he opened the door and stepped out into the storm, disappearing back into the darkness.